everybody, welcome to English on Wednesday the 20th of January. Hope you're all well, taking care and looking after yourselves. Today we are learning to predict what might happen next in our story, and our success criteria is, can you predict what might happen next in the story? So we're going to reread the story together. I will read it to you. There once was a robot with a broken heart. They did their best to fix him, but it wasn't any good. So he was sent to sit on the scrap heap with all the other old machines. He tried talking to them. He said, "My heart was broken, you know," but they didn't answer. So he lay down and looked up at the sky. He lay there through the long dark nights and the empty days. He lay there rusting in the autumn rain. He lay there when the first snows of winter fell. And there one day was a bluebird fighting against the freezing wind. She landed on his shoulder. "What are you doing here, little bird?" he said. "I'm flying south," she said weakly. "South where the sun shines, but I'm so cold and tired I can go no farther. I'm sure you don't want to stay here," said the robot. "I'm rubbish." But the bluebird just shivered and said nothing. "There's a space where my heart used to be," the robot said gently. "You can sleep there if you like." Hope you enjoyed that. Now we're going to have a discussion. So who else has now entered the story? We've only really met robots up until now. We've just met a new main character. Who is it? You've guessed it. It is the bluebird. What is a bluebird? Have you ever heard of a bluebird before? We now have two main characters in our story, the robot and the bluebird. And you may have guessed that we would meet the bluebird because of the title of our story, The Robot and the Bluebird. Do you think that there'll be any more characters that we'll meet? Or do you think that it will just be the robot and the bluebird? Maybe the title will give you a clue. Now, look at the picture on my screen. How does this picture make you feel? How are the characters making you feel? How does the weather make you feel? How are the colours making you feel? You can pause this now to have a discussion, have a chat. Also, what season do you think this is? Summer, autumn, winter, spring? Why do you think that? What clues are you noticing in the illustration? I'm sure the colours are giving you a clue as well. Now, next part of our learning, I want you to look closely at the text on this page. The text means the writing, children. I'm going to share it with you again. I'll reread it to you. And as I'm rereading it to you, I want you to think, what can we tell about the bluebird from the language that the author has used? There'll be clues in the writing. I wonder if you can hear them as I read it to you. Clues about maybe how the bluebird is feeling. Here we go. And there one day was a bluebird fighting against the freezing wind. She landed on his shoulder. "What are you doing here, little bird?" he said. "I'm flying south," she said weakly. "South where the sun shines, but I'm so cold and tired I can go no farther." "I'm sure you don't want to stay here," said the robot. "I'm rubbish." But the bluebird just shivered and said nothing. There's a space where my heart used to be, the robot said gently. You can sleep there if you like. Now, children, I wonder what words you heard. I'm sure you heard some that gave you clues as to what the bluebird is like and how she's feeling at this moment in the story. Now, I would like you to draw a bluebird in your purple books if you're at home, and at school, draw them in our school books. There's a very simple bluebird on my screen. He doesn't have to be fancy, just make him blue. And I'd like you to think of the adjectives that you heard in the text I read out that describe the bluebird. I put 3 around my bluebird that I heard, and I've also wrote those words down, and I've also highlighted them in the text in blue so you can see where I found them. The bluebird was described as cold and tired, and she said, I'm flying south. She said weakly, so I described her as weak. That means she's another way of saying that she's tired and has no energy. There are some other words in there that describe her too that I haven't put round her. You can use the ones that I found and see if you can find a couple more in the text. And also challenge yourself. Can you think of other adjectives to describe the bluebird that haven't actually been written in the text by the author, but that you could guess she'd probably be feeling, that are implied because of the other words that have been used, and maybe the way that she's talking and the way that the robot's talking. So maybe the word exhausted hasn't been used in the story, but they're telling us that she probably is. That's another word we could probably use, and it would be close to how she's feeling. We could use the word freezing as well. It's not in the writing, but she does say that she's shivering, so she's probably freezing too, and we know it was snowing. She's probably got nowhere to live, has she? The robot said that she could live where his heart used to be. So how might that make her feel? That could be some extra words that you add around your bluebird. If your child needs support with this is fine. Maybe your child could draw the bluebird, have some fun doing that, but your child could tell you the words grown up and you could scribe them, you could write them for them. It's the ideas that we're looking for. Now, we've got the same text again. We're looking at that today. And I want you to have a chat, a discussion. Can you investigate the adjectives, so the describing words, and the verbs, that's action words, doing words, that are in the text? And the text is again on the page. You can see it here. What are the words and phrases that tell us more about the bluebird? Now, at school, we will print the page and children are going to underline the adjectives and the verbs. At home, you can open the additional PowerPoint. So the same PowerPoint I've got, but it lets you open it. So if you click on the same PowerPoint that I've got here, so not the video version that this is, but the PowerPoint version, then you can open this up. And if you have access to a printer, you can print this page. If you don't, then you can just word spot on here and point with your finger. Don't worry about underlining it. So keep your eyes open as you're looking through the text. Can you find the adjectives? Remember, describing words. Can you find verbs? So action words. So we'll do a little example together. So, and there one day was a bluebird fighting against the freezing wind. So if we look at that sentence, fighting. Now, fighting is a verb. It's a doing word. So we have found our first verb. So if you can underline it, that's your first verb to underline. Maybe if you are doing it with a pencil or crayon, you could underline the verbs in one colour and the adjectives in another. So the bluebird was fighting against the freezing wind. Now the wind is being described as freezing. So freezing is the first adjective we have found. So maybe you could underline the adjectives in another colour. Remember, if you are at home and you haven't been able to print it, don't worry, you can just point to these words on the screen with your finger as you discuss them. See how many you can find. Now, main activity, what do you think might happen next in the story? Will the bluebird live in the robot's chest? Will they travel anywhere together? Will the characters' feelings change? How? Will they become happier? Will they go on an adventure together? If so, where? You can make what happens next in the story, and you can make them do anything you want. What are your ideas? I think the best thing to do here, children, is to stop and chat about your ideas, share a few, and then choose your favourite. Now, if you're at home, we're going to record your idea about what happens next in your purple book. So you can draw what happens next. What is going to happen next to the robot and the bluebird at this point in the story? Use your imagination. Now, if you can write a sentence or sentences to match your drawing and tell us what you think will happen next at this point in the story, then that's super. If you would like some support, then grown-ups, you can get your child to tell you what they think's happening next, and you can write that down for them. You record their ideas for them. That is okay as well. If you'd like to fly high today and you'd like a challenge, then children, can you think of a question, a really good question that you would like to ask the author? He's called David Lucas, the man who wrote The Robot and the Bluebird. What could you ask him? If you can write your question down yourself in your book, then go ahead and well done. If you would like your adult to write your question in your book for you, that is absolutely fine. So maybe you could ask the author, where did you get the idea from for the two main characters? Because putting a bluebird and a robot together is an odd combination. You have to think of a question, you write it down. Well done for taking part today. I know you've all tried your best, and remember what we say, your best is always good enough. Take care, children. See you soon. Bye-bye.